As we've been talking about here, some Democrats are now questioning the legitimacy of Donald Trump's administration. He will not be the first president, however, to take office under a political cloud. 16 years ago, the year 2001, Governor George W. Bush winning the White House, weeks after the election recount that lasted 37 days in Florida. Karl Rove lived through every moment of that. Former White House Deputy Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush and a Fox News contributor. And Karl, how you doing from Austin today? Good morning to you. So you have 20 Democrats who will not go to the inauguration. Was it that way 16 years ago? I remember protests, but I don't remember lawmakers saying, I'm not going to show up.
Well, I think that might have been because of the reaction of President-elect Bush to the Democrats' reaction itself. On December 18th, the leader of the House Democrats, Dick Gephardt, who's a good man, I want to say that on the record, a patriot, but he went on with on Meet the Press, and Tim Russert twice asked him, do you think Bush is the legitimately elected president of the United States? And twice, Gephardt refused to answer. And the response of President-elect Bush and his transition was to ignore it. And as a result, it didn't become a feeding frenzy. I am confident there were a number of Democrats who refused to show up at the inaugural in 2001, but it was not an issue because Bush was busily getting ready to serve and engaged in a significant outreach to the Hill involving Democrats and Republicans. In fact, the first person he called in the Congress after the Supreme Court decision was Ted Kennedy. One of the first people to see him in person was the chairman was the ranking Democrat on the House Education Committee, George Miller of California. And so it quickly got around that Bush was calling significant numbers of Democrats, cordial conversations, opening a line of communication. And so when Gephardt went out and did what he did, the fact that Bush didn't respond to it helped to sort of play the issue down.
But my sense is, I mean, if you don't remember those moments, I mean, this was a story that hung in the balance every hour of every day.
Oh, absolutely.
And it would take a different direction, and heads were spinning. And even after all of that, I don't remember the opposition in 2000 the way it is now. Right? I mean, so what's the difference then, Karl?
Well, I think a couple things. One is the growth of social media. It allows us it allows people to troll people who are into social media. I mean, I think some of these Democrats have reacted to President-elect Trump because they know it gets them attention and prestige. I thought it was interesting. This morning, Congressman Lewis's staff said, well, this has all generated 60,000 additional followers on Twitter for Congressman Lewis's account. I mean, as if that was an important, dramatic moment worthy of note. And so the growth of social media. And second of all, look, this was a contentious election in a way that we haven't seen for decades. I mean, we've had episodic elections, 1828, 1896, 1964, in which there was a lot of anger by people, particularly on the losing side. But this election was close. It's one of 5 elections in which the winner of the popular vote was the loser in the Electoral College, and all of those things have combined to along with the sort of the unhealthy involvement of social media.
Yeah, and so you wonder then what a President Trump does about all this. And I'll bring your attention to a piece from the Wall Street Journal over the weekend. John Steele Gordon, Trump may herald a new political order. Seldom does a presidential election mark a permanent shift. The last time it happened was 1932. Do you believe a President Trump has the ability to transform in the way that it's suggested there?
Yeah. Well, the one difference is that every previous realignment election, the 1932, 1980, 1896, 1860, and 1828 elections were all pointed to by John Steele Gordon as realigning elections. The winner took a majority of the popular vote, or in the case of the 1860 election, was the plurality winner, and essentially the political system was blown apart by the succession of the southern states. So I'm not certain we see in this election the capacity to realign the country. There is the capacity to make the Republicans a more durable competitor in this, and to have 4 years or 8 years of Republican president that leads to an era of Republican dominance, but not in the way that we saw in the great realignments in the past, because Trump comes into this as the minority winner and with some structural weaknesses in presidential elections, his success and the success of bringing about a new order depend upon the success in the legislative arena in accomplishing the tasks that he set out to do, bringing jobs to America, reforming the tax code, changing our trade policies,
big stuff.
securing our borders.
Yeah.
All of those things are going to be the determinant in whether we have the kind of change that the historian talked about.
We're going to come back to this theme, too. Thank you very much. Karl Rove there live in Austin. Nice to see you, sir.